Hi friends, welcome back to Amy Bakes. My name is Amy and today we have a very special episode for you. Over the weekend, my daughter had her birthday and we kind of have a little, what do you call that? Tradition in our family that when it's your birthday, you get to choose a birthday meal. But she had some friends over and we didn't want to do a video with a house full of teenage girls. You're welcome, by the way. So we are now going to make her dinner, birthday dinner, and she has asked us to do a video for it. So I'm going to need some help today. So I'm going to have my husband joining us. Everybody, this is Alan, and he is going to be helping. So let me tell you what we're going to make today. We are going to make Abby's favorite meal. It is baked chicken with Au Jus. Did I say that right? Okay. Tomato avocado salad, mashed potatoes, and green beans. So we're not going to go over the here's what you need and here's the supplies because it's just way too long. So we're just going to talk you through every step of the process. The first step is we're going to prepare our chicken because that has to bake the longest. And so we're going to bake that. We've preheated the oven to 375, and then we're going to bake that for roughly 20 minutes per pound. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going. And then while I am working on the potatoes, my husband is going to get started on the tomato avocado salad. So the first thing you want to do is I took the chicken out of the package. You want to make sure to get any gizzards and insides out. So you just got to reach in there and pull them out. If you don't want to use those, you can put them in the trash. We'll boil them up and give them to the dogs. All right, so we're going to rinse that off, okay? And then you're going to lay the chicken breast. Oops, forgot to spray my pan. Hang on just a minute. All right, Alan's going to spray the pan. Now I'm going to wash my hands real quick. I'm going to have to wash them again. Okay, now we're going to pick the chicken up and we're going to put that breast side up. And then I will wash my hands and we're going to salt and pepper that. And then Alan is going to tuck the wings in for us.
This is how I tuck the wings in. You just kind of grab them like that and then you just bring them in like that and just tuck that sucker right on underneath.
Right under.
All right, like this. And then just tuck it in. Just like that. There we go. All right.
And now we're just going to salt and pepper our bird. Just a sprinkling of salt, probably about a teaspoon's worth, and then about a half a teaspoon sprinkling of pepper. And now Alan is going to show us how to cut the onions, and this is how we're going to make the au jus.
So if you saw in her last video on the cutting the onions, you saw it diced. They were going to do a slice. And this slice right here is really nice for whenever you want to caramelize your onions, you want them to kind of melt. If you cut them this way, they'll be thick, like if you were doing fajitas, and they'll keep their integrity. If you cut it this way, they'll melt away, and you can get it like for French onion soup, or for this case as the au jus. Cut it like that. Then you flip it over down like that. Then you got another good holding spot. Then you just come back and cut it away like that. And that's how you cut an onion to make like an au jus or a French onion soup.
Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to take those cut onions and we're just going to sprinkle them around the pan. Okay, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to the onions, and then we are going to get that in the oven. It is preheated to 375. I'm going to let this cook down for 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 45 minutes. And then we're going to go back and add water. So we're going to pop that in there uncovered, and we're going to set the timer for 45 minutes. So while the chicken is baking for the first 45 minutes, we're going to get Alan set up, and he is going to start doing the tomato avocado salad. And in the background, while he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and peel and cut the potatoes. That's nothing special about that. So you don't even need to see that being demonstrated. So we're going to turn it over to Alan for the tomato avocado salad.
Well, on a tomato avocado salad, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to get your dressing made. or your vinaigrette. And I'm going to start off with a shallot, and you cut your shallot pretty much just like you would an onion. You just, once again, take off that other part. This is going to be a little different because, as you see, it is got two eyes on here. Break that apart like that. 2 cloves. But you do it the same way. You probably want to get that off. Yeah, break into it a little bit better. There we go. Get it a little nicer.
Alan,
Peel that, yes.
can this vinaigrette go with salads, or is it just really mainly for your tomato?
This is actually my mom's recipe that came back from France, and she put it on everything. Salads, tomatoes, anything. So same concept. You just want to kind of dice it, so you just fan it out, and then come back after and just kind of dice it thin. This one's not the freshest one I've ever worked with, so, but you see the concept.
Okay, I've got the potatoes peeled and washed, and now I'm going to cube those up. I just wanted to jump in real quick and say this. Don't ever put your potato or carrot peels down the garbage disposal. It will stop that sucker up so fast. So just when you're done peeling, just scoop them up and throw them in the garbage.
Diced up your shallot. You just take that. That's probably what? That's probably a couple tablespoons.
Did you do that 2 shallots or 3?
I did. No, I just did 1 large shallot.
Oh, okay.
And so you put that in there in your bowl. Okay. So once you got your shallots in the bowl, then you start adding your vinegar, red wine vinegar. And I like it vinegary. Yeah, to me, that's the flavor in it. But you can do this. There's no wrong way of doing it. So I got a couple tablespoons in there. I'm going to put a squirt of Grey Poupon, but of course, probably about a teaspoon. And then we're going to get some mayonnaise out. I prefer Hellmann's, but everybody's got their choice. I'm probably going to...
Miracle Whip, right?
Yeah, no Miracle Whip. I'm going to put a good heaping glob of that in there. And then...
So would you say that heaping glob would be about 2 to 3 tablespoons?
I'd probably say 2. And then I'm going to put salt, and I'm a saltaholic, especially whenever we're dealing with tomatoes, because tomatoes love salt. Salt and then a little black pepper. All right.
So would you say that's a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of salt?
That's 3 pinches of salt and 2 of pepper.
Wait. Pinch or a grab? Because it looked like a grab to me.
So, anyhow, you get it all in there nice and mixed. And then, since I love to measure so much, I'm not going to measure this either.
Sorry, folks, I can't help you on this one.
But there's no right way and no wrong way to do it. I mean, so now you incorporate your oil slowly. I use an olive oil, or I'm sorry, this is avocado oil. So you just do it nice and slow, and it's like making mayonnaise. Kind of whisk in, and I don't know how much I put. I probably don't put 2 tablespoons in it. I bet you it's less than that. I bet you it's about a tablespoon, about half of what I do of the vinegar. There we go. That's probably going to be just beautiful. So it looks like that at this point. And then you start working with your tomatoes. And get everything cleaned up here. Now we've got our vinaigrette made. And we're going to start cutting tomatoes and avocados and putting everything in there together. So we're going to start with the avocados. I like the avocados. So this is just an easy way of getting it open. I'm sure you've seen this before. Like that. And then you pop that on out like that. And what I usually do is I cut it right in there. That's not probably the safest thing to do, but you know what? You gotta live life on the wild side every once in a while. So there we go. And then you take a spoon and just kind of get in there and pop it on out like that. All right, like that. All right, so now I've added my avocados, to my dressing, as you can see. And we are fixing to start cutting the tomatoes. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. I usually just like to slice it like this. This is really a nice ripe tomato anyhow. And after you got them all cut up, you can just take them and just add them to your vinaigrette. That's a slippery little guy. Won't let me catch it. There we go. And just mix it all in. And usually at this point, I always like to add just a little more salt. Tomatoes love salt. At the end, I just put a little parsley on it. I prefer fresh, but you know what? I've got dry.
This is what we have.
Life is easy sometimes. And that's it.
So we've just got the potatoes boiling. And once I diced them up, I just covered them with water. I didn't put too much water, just enough to cover them up. And we're just going to keep them boiling. Your potatoes need to boil for about 20-30 minutes. So you just kind of got to work that timing in there. Okay, the timer is ringing, and so the chicken has been in the oven for 45 minutes, and you can see the onions are starting to cook. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add about 8 ounces of water, and you could also use, Alan says, to make it really good, is you could use white wine instead of water, but he's the one that taught me this recipe, and originally he just taught me to use water, so that's what I've always done. And that's what we're going to do today. So we're just going to pour that in there. And then we're going to close that back up. And we're going to cook that for another 45 minutes. And then we'll check it to make sure that it's done. Now with chicken, you want to make sure that you cook it until the internal temperature reads 165. So we'll go another 45 minutes. When we hit about the 20-minute mark, I'm going to start the green beans. And so we'll be back for green beans shortly. I got my potatoes down to a simmer, and now we're going to go ahead and get started on those green beans. We have about 15 minutes left on that chicken, and so I'm just going to use a spoonful, tablespoon or so of bacon grease. Remember in the frittata video, I said in the South we save all manners of bacon grease. If you don't want to use bacon grease or you don't have bacon grease, you can use butter. Just get a couple tablespoons of butter. So I'm just going to melt that in the pan. Okay, that bacon grease is melted, and now I'm just going to throw my green beans in there. I buy the giant bag at Costco. You can also buy them at Walmart or the grocery store in 1-pound bags, and we would use about a 1 pound. So if you just want to get the smaller bags, you can do that. And I'm just going to dump my frozen green beans in there. Typically, I would use a larger skillet, but my bigger skillet is starting to stick, and so I'm going to have to get that replaced. So I'm going to use the smaller skillet today. So that's about 1 pound, and I put that in the bacon grease. And now I'm going to show you my special seasoning. So this is how I season all of my green beans. And everybody likes them, even kids. So the first thing I do is have my salt. Okay, and I just reach in and get a pinch of salt. I would probably say that's a teaspoon's worth. Then I reach in, do about half of that of pepper. So maybe half a teaspoon. Actually, that's probably about 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. Then I use granulated garlic. And what I do here is I just sprinkle that over them. No real measurement, just sprinkle them over. Then I use granulated onion. Same thing, just a sprinkle over. No real measurement. Maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, maybe, if I had to guess. And then my secret sauce, nutritional yeast. I introduced you to nutritional yeast in the frittata video. And just as a reminder, this is a powerhouse for your B12 vitamins. It helps maintain your blood sugar levels, also helps lower cholesterol. So super healthy. And I just take a generous tablespoon and just spread it over there. Now, I also have this all made up, and I've added some parsley flakes to it. So I just kind of have this made up in this little container so I can sprinkle it over anything. But that just is what's in that container. So now I'm going to just cook these in the pan. I'm going to saute them. And I like to saute them till they're practically burnt looking. So we're just going to stir these in, and I will show you what they look like when they're actually done. But the darker and the crispier they are, the better they are. I'm just going to put those in that saute pan and just keep cooking them down. These have been sauteing for about 10 minutes, and they're looking good. You can see that they're starting to kind of darken up. We're just going to let them keep going. Okay, the chicken has been in the oven for an hour and a half, and now we're going to take it out and see if it is done. Where's the pot holder? You can see that Au Jus. Now you want chicken to be at 165 internal temperature to be done. But we're also, Alan has a way of, he picks it up and focus right here. If Abby, if you can come around here and see if the juices runs out clear. If the juices do not run out clear, then we already know we need to go a little longer. That looks pretty good though, doesn't it?
It's clear.
Okay, let's go ahead and check that temperature then.
We should have done it before it was all the way done. I think we just showed the difference.
Oh yeah, we're at 165. We're good. That's done. Okay, so now we're going to let that bird sit for about, what, 5-10 minutes?
10 minutes.
About 10 minutes? Okay. And that's just going to help lock in the juices. And while the bird is sitting for 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the green beans and the mashed potatoes. Green beans are just about done. You can see they're getting nice and dark. You can also do these in the oven, but you really want them to get good and crispy, and they get crispier in the pan, versus in the toaster oven. Okay, I did 5 potatoes, and I'm just going to put about 1/3 of a stick of butter. You could do, this is really to taste. You could do a half a stick or a whole stick, whatever you prefer. And I'm just going to get that in there to melt, and then we're going to add some milk. You can use whole milk, skim milk, anything in between, almond milk, whatever your preference is, soy milk. We just use whole milk. And I just pour a little bit in, and then I'm going to mash and then just add milk as I need. There is no exact measurement on this because it really just depends on how many potatoes you did. So it's going to vary every time. So err on the side of caution. If you make a mistake and you add too much milk, you can use, if you have the dehydrated potato flakes that come in a box, you can use those to kind of, thicken it back up if you need to. So if you don't have that, then you're just going to have runny potatoes. So err on the side of caution with that. So I'm going to do a little bit more, just a tad. That's probably good right there. And then I'm going to mash that in, and then we're going to add the salt and pepper. Potatoes are another one of those things that really soak up the salt. So go ahead and don't be afraid to add your salt. I start usually with a teaspoon and then about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. But again, that is just something that you're going to do to taste. So I'm going to go ahead and add my salt and my pepper. And real quick, I'm going to turn the green beans off. So there's the green beans. They're nice and crispy. We're just going to set those aside and then mash up those potatoes. And here in a few minutes, I'll get Alan to come back in and show us how to cut the chicken up to serve it.
All right. So now your bird's done. You're going to take it and put it right here on your cutting board. And so this is the breast up. So right in here, if you go right down the center, you'll notice, if you pull this away a little bit like that, you can kind of look in there and you see the bone. And you can kind of just barely cut right along that bone. And come down here and go around that wishbone. Like that. Okay? I don't know if you can see in here or not. Kind of raise it up over here, Abby. And then kind of go in there like that. And you can kind of start peeling it back. Like that, right off the bone. I don't know how well you caught that or not. There you go. So you got a whole breast that came off of it like that. And then you repeat it going on to the other side. And sometimes you'll I just cut the wishbone. That's the little bones right there. I'll be able to get that after. There it is right there. There you go. And then the legs. Yeah, get it at the knuckle. You get the whole hindquarter there. So you got the knuckle there. It's hard to, I'm sure Abby's having a hard time videoing this because I know it's not the easiest thing.
It's not the easiest thing.
Exactly.
But let me ask you a question while you're doing this.
Okay.
When you're cutting, and you said you're going to the knuckle, are you cutting through that bone?
Yeah, it's not through the bone. You're trying to find the knuckle. You see? And if you look at it, that's the knuckle. So there's a joint here.
Okay.
Where it's hooked on, where it's going on, yes. And
okay.
Just like whenever I'll bring it up like this, and you can kind of see how it goes right in there. See, and you got the knuckle. It's at the joints. You're not going right through the bone. You're going to the joints, and you're breaking it down like that. So
you don't have to have a special knife or anything for that.
No, I use a chef knife. I use a 12-inch chef knife. That's what I've always used. That's 90% of my arsenal when it comes to what I do in a kitchen.
I like the gadgets and all the fun stuff, and he just uses his knife.
I'm trying to catch it. Well, where is it? There it is. Yeah, not the prettiest job on that one, but you get the gist. Good enough. All right, so now we get to the pan, and I mean, it's a little, for me, it's not that hot anymore, but anyhow, this is the Au Jus, so you just want to kind of deglaze it and get all this good bone marrow that's all over the place on here. That's the...
So like the crunchy bits.
Exactly. And then you just mix it all in, and then, I don't know if this thing's going to be big enough, but we'll try it.
We'll try it. Oh, yeah, we're good.
That's good. And just get all this goodness.
And then we're going to scrape those onions in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Now we need to drain the fat or separate the fat.
And that just takes time. It's gonna you leave it sitting here for a few minutes, and you'll see all the fat will come up to the top, and then you just skim it off.
Yeah, with a spoon.
And then this is what the rest of your product will end up looking like when you're done. You'll have the carcass and the 2 legs. You have the 2 thighs. There. 2 wings. Drumsticks. And your breast.
Now, just in case someone doesn't know, can you tell us which pieces are white meat and which pieces are dark meat?
Your breast is going to be the white. Your breast and your wings are going to be the white. And your leg quarters are going to be your dark meat.
Your drumstick and your thigh are going to be your dark meat. Your breast and your wings are your white meat.
All right, so now you can tell the grease has come up to the top of the au jus. And if you look at it, you can actually see the layers. And all you have to do on that is just get yourself a ladle and just skim that grease right on off of there. I'm just putting it in this. Usually it goes right in the trash, but this time it's going in a mason jar because it's
then we'll just
better for TV. Oh, there we go. And there you go. Beautiful au jus to go on top of your chicken. I should tell them the story.
What is that story?
The story of my mom.
Tell them.
Whenever I was
Hang on a moment.
Growing up, she'd do baked chicken, and she'd always pick the carcass. And I always thought to myself, my God, we're so poor that my mama has to pick the carcass of the chicken. And then whenever I grew up and I started doing it myself, I realized real quick, it's not that it was that we were poor. That was the best meat on the chicken was the one touching the bone. So all this time I thought that she was doing it, because we were poor, and instead it was because it was the best meat. It was touching the bone, so she would eat all the best meat.
That is a sweet memory of your mom.
It is. It is.
So now every time we make this baked chicken, Alan and Abby sit there and pick the carcass together. Thank you so much for watching today as we prepared my daughter's favorite birthday meal. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope you see how easy it is to really make a delicious meal at home. And it's so simple and so much less expensive than going out to eat. So I hope you give this a try. If you have any questions, then leave a comment. I do read all of your comments and I will get an answer for you. If I don't know the answer, I will certainly work to find it for you. Also, be sure to like and subscribe. Next month, since it's finally getting fall and it's cooling off, we are going to do my husband's chicken and dumpling recipe. I promise you it is the best chicken and dumplings you will ever taste. And so we're going to do that. And then also we're going to start working on a Thanksgiving menu, and we're going to do the full Thanksgiving menu in different segments. Basically, we're going to have a dessert segment of sides and then the main course. So be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification. That way you'll be notified when we have a new video upload. I also wanted to mention that today we hit 100 subscribers. So honestly, wow, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. That really means a lot to me. I set up a Facebook page, so if you want to go to Facebook, just look up for Amy Bakes. And if you want to join that group there on Facebook, that's just a place that we can kind of chat. If you have questions, you can ask there as well. I'll post my videos there as well. Also, if you have some ideas for something that you would like to see a recipe demonstrated, you can leave me some messages there. You can send me a direct message there. So thank you again for joining today and for watching and sharing in this video with us today.